Well, I think it's a good setup. I think that the some of the clarity I want to bring, and I don't know everything. I'm learning all the time throughout my life. The more I know, the less I know. But what I know as of right now is one of the mistakes people often make when they think about manifesting is they think about what they want. And this is surface level. This is my desires. These are one, it's a weak signal. Two, it's typically the opposite of what you truly have in your heart. So what you really want to do is you want to first go deep in and understand, what do I truly believe to be true about my life? How do I see myself? What do I see myself as worthy of? And what is the desire that sits deep in my heart? Because whatever's really going on in there is what you're actually going to be manifesting. And I don't think people realize this. So they go through the exercise of, like, the mirror manifestations. They look in the mirror every morning. I'm rich. I'm wealthy. I have abundance. And what they're often actually saying when they're doing this mirror work is, I have scarcity. I am poor. I am not wealthy. That's the real signal that they're sending out. That's what they're going to manifest. And we are living, their current reality is a lag. So imagine a computer game. The reality we're living right now is a manifestation of the last months and years of our life. And we co-create this, in my belief, with God. And ultimately, what's in our heart, the divine nature of us, what we fear the most, however, whatever's really going on there is what we manifest. So the way I like to think about it is, go in there first and find out what I truly believe. And if I find in there some junk, some belief systems that are outdated or broken and clearly not from God, clearly not for my benefit, I either see myself as unworthy of receiving, I see myself as shameful, whatever it is, clean that up first and become aware of it first before I start trying to manifest something, because it's actually dangerous. It's somewhat dangerous because you can really manifest something you don't want. So find that. And then like we
So
did this
some form of purification first.
just uncovering what's in there, and then looking in there and finding what is a deep desire I have in there, like a deep belief I have about what's possible for my life. Find that thing, and that typically is from God. That is from a higher source. And you find that deep, deep truth that is a positive truth, and it's got to come from there. It cannot come from here. This will fail you every time. And the reason is, this is how prayer works. I was recently, I believe, revealed about the way prayer actually works, because I've witnessed so many miracles. And I'm going to explain this. And for some, I hope it makes sense. So in quantum physics, we understand something about how particles work. We now know that when particles are basically flying around, protons, neutrons, electrons are flying around in a cloud, a field of potentiality. Right? These are waves of potential, but they only exist when they're observed. Only in the observation of one does it come into being in time and space. In that moment, it comes to be what we would consider matter. It exists. Up until that moment, it actually only it exists everywhere and nowhere. It's a beautiful paradox. At the subatomic level, you can produce one particle by just observing it. We are made of these same particles. Everything in creation is made. Everyone knows this. They're a bunch of buzzing particles. When you manifest, all you're doing is rearranging these particles through multiple systems of people and money and resources and places start to move in the direction of whatever you're focused on, whatever's deeply in there. And the reason prayer and faith is so powerful is I've manifested many things. I didn't realize I was co-creating with God when I was doing it. I honestly didn't realize it. And here's how it works. If you, like I used to hear from God, you're going to move. There will be a house given. There will be the perfect house. And I would sit in faith. What is faith? Faith is being sure of what you hope for. So being sure of what I hope for a new house, and certain of what you do not see. I am certain that there is a God working for my benefit behind the scenes all the time to make this thing happen. No matter what's happening in my current environment, I would hold on to those truths constantly to the point where people thought I was crazy. Like, you've got 5 kids, you're not looking for a house. And I'm like, God's going to provide me a home. God's going to provide. I know it because I heard it and I believe it. So this is a deep, deep belief that I have co-created because I went in prayer to find this, which means I went deep and I found this thing. I held on to it. My circumstances brought me so many troubles, so many things that would counter this belief that this thing would manifest. But I held on, like the visual I always have is a flagpole stuck into the side of a cliff, an ugly cliff. Imagine this huge cliff up so high, and there's just one flagpole sticking into the side of it. The winds are high, the weather's bad, and you're holding on. And that flagpole represents the truth that you know to be true about what's coming your way, something good. You can also think about it as something bad, and you'll manifest that. I hold on to that thing. I'm known for this. I'm known for this throughout a lot of my life as this guy. When people say, "Well, how?" and I say, "I just believe. I just believe." What's actually happening now that I understand quantum physics a little better is what's happening is I am co-manifesting. I am literally bringing into existence this concept into the future, which takes time because I'm living my current reality as a previous manifestation that I've co-created. And so my future reality is coming through faith, co-creation. All these particles are moving at a subatomic level, literally, because it takes time because there's billions of us manifesting our own realities all the time, co-creating with the creator, I believe. And so imagine a computer game. If you look at how computer games are run, it's a great way to look at the parallel. When my kids are playing a computer game and they're playing an online game with sometimes millions, sometimes there's 25, 30 million people playing one game at once. My kids show me this.
Wow.
In those moments, the servers are working so hard to manifest a single reality that they are all seeing at the same time.
Wow.
But it's only manifesting what the player in the game is observing and not other things because it would take too much
Mm.
computer power, right?
Mm.
And there's a lag sometimes. Oftentimes there's a lag because if you move too quickly in the game, if you try to do too many things, you create chaos. My son just last night showed me he created chaos in the game and the game crashed.
Wow.
Same thing, same parallel holds true here. When there's too much chaos, which means fears and doubts, constantly fears and doubts, angst. This is chaos. You cannot manifest something solid. And people wonder, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Because what you're really manifesting is chaos. And so you're going to get chaos because you can't hold firm to the thought because you need at the quantum level, it's waiting for your focus and for your intention to hold true for a period of time long enough to move all the things that need to happen. Think about all the pieces that need to move into
Yeah.
place to manifest anything. You have to move people, you have to move money, weather patterns get moved, all of this. And it's true.
I
This is the real life. Like, this is how we call miracles. All that they really are is the movement of these particles into play based on consistent belief in something that you are focused on, that is deep in your heart, not in your head, in your heart. That's how I'm understanding. And I go back and I track it and I realize that this was at play at every level. And it's exactly what they're uncovering now in quantum mechanics and quantum physics. And it makes sense. It explains what's actually happening at those times.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense because we are we're so wired just to like whatever. If it doesn't happen almost instantaneously, we just like it doesn't exist, it doesn't work, right? I asked,
Yeah.
it never received, and you just move on, or you just like doubt. And but now you explain it through the computer game. I mean, that was genius, by the way, because I recognize that myself. I don't play computer games now, but I used to when I was way younger, and those computer games obviously were very basic. And yes, when you were too fast, yes, that lagging, I remember. That is brilliant. I suppose it's the
Yeah.
same with when we work with our own computers. If we're just like too chaotic and opening too many windows and apps, and all of a sudden it just crashes. Not always,
Yeah.
times or freezes.
or
Right?
freezes, and we wonder why we have these moments in life where things freeze. They're all for our benefit. It is, I believe, still a God and a creator. I just think that we now are starting to understand how things are designed and how they work. And for me, this is helpful because now I have a visual of what's actually occurring, and then I am a co-creator in it, which I didn't. I used to just think God's doing this, God's doing this. I'm just going to believe in God, and I didn't realize that I was literally co-creating the whole time. And I believe like this is our ultimate destiny, is we will start to understand that we are creators and that we are actually at some point we will understand that we are really creating this reality. And when we start to get in sync, so this is in biblical terms, Jesus
Mhm.
said, when two or more people come together in my name, there I will be. This is why. This because when multiple people come together, and there's a lot of people playing with, Joe Dispenza's having groups come together, and they are manifesting things more quickly together. They're able to actually manipulate matter particles in real time with like coin flipping probabilities. So it's a 50-50 probability if you flip a coin heads or tails. When you flip it enough times, like thousands of times, it's bound to be 50-50. Well, they're able to manipulate this through intention. Enough people, 50, 60 people sitting around, intentionalizing more heads than tails, they're able to do that. They're able to break the code through manifestation. And all they're doing is the same thing. So imagine if more of us are manifesting these good things, we will start to, and together in sync, and this is where I think ultimately things will go. We will understand what's really happening, and we will start to take ownership of our lives and what's happening here and recognize we have a huge role to play in it.
I love that. And we did this exercise, didn't we, on our brainstorming in our project
Yes.
on the Zoom call today, and you asked us to do this manifestation exercise on where what's coming, what we see for the project, where we see ourselves and how we see it and all. And it was so powerful and so beautiful because all of a sudden we just started speaking from our hearts,
Mm.
and everyone just started describing what they see and how they see it. And it's like, it was so beautiful because it was true, and it was the reason why we were all in this project. And you just asked us to now hold on to that truth,
Flagpole.
black yeah, and continue like manifesting it. And even if something is not going that way, just wait. It's the lag. Things
Well,
are.
that's the key. Yeah, thank you. The key, the hardest thing to do is when trouble comes, when things come that counter that manifestation, they're not evil. They're just a lag in your system of things of old ways of thinking. And all you have to do is go back again. And that's why I picture the flagpole. I always picture myself holding on to that thing for dear life. I will never let go of that truth. And that's why in my life, so many things have manifested because I've believed throughout so much of my adult life. I mean, shoot, since I was pretty young, actually, I would have these beliefs in things. I would just believe them and I would hold on to it, and then they would happen. And that's all that was happening. And it's hard to do, but what do we say today? Every time there's a doubt, every time a doubt comes up, go back, grab onto the truth, hold on to it. The other thing is, you remember what I asked you guys? I said, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as worthy of receiving the full abundance that's available to you? And a lot of people, including myself before I uncovered this, in my faith, I saw myself as unworthy, which is a lie. This is a very dangerous lie. I'm not worthy, God. I'm not worthy. You are all. He is in me. I am in Him. I'm as worthy as anybody. And to accept that without it being an arrogant, it's just a receiving of my true nature. It's so important to let yourself be worthy because you won't. Otherwise, you're limiting what's available to you.
Yeah. It's powerful, and even if like we come from different backgrounds, you from Christianity, and you have very, very powerful relationship with God, and I'm learning about that through you and how it plays out. You don't have to be like worshiping God in church all the time and doing all these
No.
practices that church demands of you. It's like literally you and God and the Creator, and your conversations and the intimacy you have with God is just so beautiful, and how it manifests in your life and what you were able to achieve. For example, to me was a massive, like I've never met anyone like you, because what we discussed this, like in all the systems that now we're using in the Activate My Identity, and I use in my I've been using in my personal practice, like human design and numerology and astrology and tarot. They all allow me to see the other person, to understand the other and myself better. So, and they like my way to growth of consciousness, because the more I go deep in there, the more I see like the patterns behind, and I realize that, hang on a second, there's something else going on. It's not just what I see. There's something bigger than
Yeah.
more than that. And that's my way. And then I met you, and you came to the same point, if not more advanced, through just your prayers, your connection with God, your intimacy with God, like you explained, the death of self and your personal transformation. And you were able to work with people with those, what do you call it? Skills, instruments,
Yeah, those tools,
talent,
those learnings. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, learnings that you had. And you were having incredible results with that in your personal life and in your coaching, in lives of people that you were coaching. Of course, when we combined our both efforts, it's amplified. It's so powerful what we're
Yeah.
able to do together. But I see clearly that you can come to the same point,
Truth. Truth. You can.
different ways, right?
Yeah.
They always
Yeah.
just,
This.
if someone is watching this and maybe they're not religious, they're not believing God, let's say, there's a lot of people like that out there. I'm just saying that you might still feel that there is something bigger than you. Maybe you believe in, I don't know, higher self, higher forces, something that you cannot see, they're not tangible, right? But you might not believe in like God, like in Christian God or Islamic God or any other God, for example, right? But these are all the ways of describing the same truth,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think yeah, the important thing is that you've got to be open to recognizing that there's more going on than meets the eye. If you can't recognize that the majority of what we see and touch and feel is not the majority of reality, then you can't really participate in this properly. The good news is anybody who's living in this time and age, science has shown most of this already. Not all of it, but it's revealed most of this. We understand at the subatomic level what's happening in the particles. It's mostly empty space. We are mostly empty space. People know this. I go and read scientific papers. The most enjoyable part I have is when I get to the bottom, almost inevitably. If it's written by the scientists themselves, they will say something along the lines of, and we have no idea where this came from or how this is happening. We just know what we found because they can't explain it. It's just like it's too big to explain oftentimes, especially when they're down at the particle level, because it's like, what do you mean it's mostly empty space? But what about I can touch myself? And there's no touching. You never touch something. There's only opposing forces. Like once you don't have to look very far to come up and realize there's way more going on than meets the eye. And then I believe then you can open yourself up to experience something. And ultimately that's what we want to do, not so that we can manifest for our own benefit. It's not like this is where I think people are also led astray, manifesting for themselves more money and more wealth for
Mm.
the sake of money and wealth. You will eventually find yourself hitting a wall. We don't exist to serve ourselves. We all exist at the core for each other. We're one.
Mm.
And you will learn this lesson one way or another. It's better to learn it early. Trust me. It's much better to learn it early.
I like the explanation in the from our teacher Alex in the Royblatt Academy where I studied numerical psychology, and there's a philosophy behind that, and the philosophy says that ultimately the way we are all developing and growing is to recognize that, like you were saying, there's a creator and there's a creator in us, and that means that there's a creator in the other, and our
Correct.
goal in life is to serve the creator, and by serving the other we serve the creator. So that's what, just rephrasing what you were saying. You there? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to call.
Because
Yeah.
whilst we're serving ourselves, although there is a creator in us as well, but and obviously we shouldn't be serving others at the detriment of ourselves. So nourishing ourselves for us is important. Filling the vessel with love is
Yeah.
important, because if you don't have energy, you cannot give to the other. So taking care of yourself first and then serving the other, I think that is beautiful if you think about that way.
Yeah, this is Scott's on this call. This is the work that I was doing with him together for a long time. Was this man in particular is a great example of somebody who has a huge heart to serve, wants to help people so much, but until you become whole yourself, until you start to love who you are and understand who you are and your true identity, and know that self and love that, you will only be a fraction of what your love will only have a fraction of the impact that's possible when you
Yeah,
take care of yourself. When you take care of yourself and you love yourself and you're whole, it really means you've actually found your divine nature. You found this bigger force in you,
and
and
it's
you can
true.
start to recognize it in others.
And
Yeah,
it's true that you can help more people if you have power and money. That's why some people do get power and money, but not for themselves, in order for them to be able to help more people. Because we
yes,
live in the world where that is truth. So yeah, so you definitely can get that way, but not through receiving for yourself. Uh,
yeah. Or you
however,
still might get it. You still
you might
might get it. It's just that you will
you'll get that
inevitably need
karma
to
for
learn.
life.
Yeah, you'll inevitably need to learn the lesson that it will come. You might get millions of dollars and manifest all of this amazingness, and or you just might feel empty still. And it's because your intention, you didn't do the heart work at the beginning. You didn't see what was really in there, what was broken in there, and what was whole in there. And what are you trying to manifest out of that place? That's hard work. That's the truth. It's
And
not.
I think you know what you're talking about, because you were in those circuits where you worked at a quite high corporate level, right? So you were surrounded by people who were earning a lot of money, and you said yourself that you saw a lot of them not getting any satisfaction.
Yeah, yeah, myself included. The more I gained, the more I lost. Yeah, the more I gained, the more I lost. Um, and then you just start to realize there's more going on. There's more available. And like Scott, for example, who's we both said you have a voice, got a
Hmm.
voice. This guy's starting to get thousands of followers on TikTok. Why? He's sharing a message now. He's not fighting people. He's not sharing a message of being beaten down and victim. He's sharing a message of love. He's sharing a message of encouragement, and he only got there through finding out himself, who he was, his identity. And now he's beginning to manifest a new reality for himself out of this place of love. And it's hard because it doesn't come fast. Scott, if you're still on here, remember there's a lag. And I consider it, depending on your focus and depending on your past and situation, it's months, if not sometimes years, until it fully manifests, but it will come. The universe must obey. It's a law of the universe. If you are in a state of focused intention from the heart, good or bad, there's no such thing, in my opinion. You know, beneficial or not beneficial, it must obey. You will create inevitably some outcome for yourself that you will live through. And so why not create something good?
I must say that I noticed that the more I'm working on myself through whether these systems or meditations and going inwards and doing what I preach, basically, the faster the manifestation happens, and
Yeah.
the more I feel, like you said, I'm worthy of receiving. Like I'm ready. Like when I truly feel like I'm ready, like I'm ready to receive. Literally, I think yeah, this is the time. And then it just almost happens instantaneously. And
Hmm. Hmm.
what some people think as a miracle, I now receive, and I like just smile back at, and I'm saying thank you. It's like I don't know how that happened, but thank you. However,
Yeah.
before that, it used to take way longer. When I just started, I was telling you the story today. When I just started studying human design 3 years ago, and I remember I loved researching and studying so much, but as it's a very deep system and you need to dedicate loads of hours to understand it on a good level. And I remember I had this full-time work in the business, and I was just saying, if only I could find someone who would be interested in my work, and I would be receiving money enough not for me not to go to that work, and I could just do this thing because I love doing this so much and I want to help so many people with this. And it took the universe 2 years, 2.5,
Mm.
which is a long time maybe, yes, but it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
I always believed. I carried on.
That's it. Yeah.
I never
And I'm
doubted.
sure, and think about what, I mean, this, in this case for you, massive change. And this is why I don't think people realize how this creation is set up well enough. And I'm still learning, but you were doing something totally different. You were doing a snooker club. You were in this totally different frequency and world. And then you're making a U-turn. Imagine all the things that have to come into play for you to, and so it makes sense when a huge change happens.
Different
It's
mentality,
like turning it.
different
Yeah.
frequency, different surrounding, different people. Yeah, and all of a sudden, what?
So,
Coaching people.
yeah. So you can turn, like, imagine if you have a ball at the end of a really long taut string. You can turn quickly, but if it's really long, that ball takes a long time to swing around and come in alignment with you. And that's what we're doing in these things. And it takes time, like, and we've got to stay there. But think about if we come back really quickly, the ball passes us by, and now we're trying to regain. So once you've turned your boat, to turned your gaze, the hardest thing to do is to hold that gaze, no matter what happens, because you're going to go through a lot of shit from the past that you were manifesting. You got to let it play itself out before the new world can come into view. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a beautiful. It makes so much sense to me now, and it's so much freedom because you now can really understand how it works, and you can accept your role in it. We can both accept our role in all of this, and it won't. I don't believe it'll be as hard because you can expect. Okay, there'll be a lag. Just expect it. It's not a problem. No more doubts, no more fears. Why hasn't it happened? That's gone. That should be gone, right? We know too much.
So what would you like? Someone's just joined us, and they are thinking about their next 6 months, and they're thinking about changing their life. And what would you tell them they need to do today in order to manifest a change in their life for the better? that they might want.
Go first thing you got to do is know yourself. You got to go inward. You got to understand what you're up against in yourself
How,
first.
how can someone do that?
Well, they can get help from people like us. That's one way. They can go inward through prayer, meditation, contemplation. That's a very worthy way. It's hard. It's nice to get a little bit of a gauge on where you're at based on your design already, which obviously we have these tools, which is amazing. But like I did it, I just went inward on my hands and knees in silence, seeking the presence of God
Maybe
again and
that
again.
at that moment, I think you said you had a mentor, didn't you?
I had a mentor.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a mentor.
To get someone still recommended, right? Someone who can hold your hand and
Yeah,
oh,
it's help. I mean, yeah, and I was this for Scott, and it's so important because we need this accountability. It's very hard. Very few people, although it's not impossible. I have a brother-in-law who did it alone, who did a similar thing alone. Um, you got to find what's in there. You got to find the negative thought patterns and negative beliefs and begin to uncover with the hopefully with help from a mentor or guides like us, start to understand how to unblock those, how to rewire that thinking, and then find the goodness in there, find the thing that's deep seated. So typically people who are wanting to change their life, what they haven't yet admitted to themselves is that there is a dream in there. There is already, and they know it. It's been there for ages, but we get so conditioned to tuck that little thing away, and it gets smaller and smaller and deeper and further away. But it's there. There's a dream of what I really came here to do, and but it sometimes can feel like so disconnected from my reality. Whatever that thing is, I would say grab hold of that thing with all your might.
mm,
Hold on to that thing. I mean, really, like with everything you have, and focus on that, and acknowledge that it exists. Believe that it can be true. Don't worry about how. Don't worry about when. Do not concern yourself with the how or the when. Just concern yourself with the truth that that thing exists in you for a reason, and it's possible. And what you will inevitably find if you're brave enough is synchronicities will start to come into your life quickly that show you the path to go. And your job is to recognize those and follow them, because you will get a little nudge. Picture like there's like a little seed in there, deep down, buried in the ashes of your soul, and it wants to grow. And it like a little synchronicity comes, there's like a little buzz, zzz, the little thing down there. You've got to be aware, like, oh, I think that's it. I think that looks right, that seems right, and you follow that thing blindly, knowing that and especially if it goes against everything in your current reality, because you're trying to make a big change.
that's what I
And
wanted to
if
say. I think for lots of people, what stops them is the fear that once they start following that thing,
Yeah,
and that thing might destroy their reality. And lots of people are afraid of that because sometimes
yeah,
it requires complete change,
yep,
especially
and
if someone has strayed too far from that true dream of
this is the hard thing. This is the work we do. This is the work I did with my friend Scott, this with other people,
them.
is can you let go of what you thought your life needed to look like?
Got goosebumps. Mm,
Can you let it all go and recognize that there is something greater for you
mm,
beyond the forest that you cannot see, but you know in your heart? Can you do it? I did this. I had to leave the corporate world behind. I had to leave that whole Chad, that whole version of me, and decide to never look back. And it was terrifying. How am I going to provide for my family? Who am I? But I chose it, and I'm so glad I did. It was scary as hell,
mm.
scary as hell. But there's no more noble cause than to follow what's deep in your heart. There's nothing more noble than to do that,
So it's scary to
even
take
if it
that step.
means even if it means you lose everything you thought was valuable to you. Even sometimes, certain situations, I've worked with people who had to lose their children, not to death, but lose access to their kids, lose relationship, only to be gained again,
Mm.
only to be gained again. But they needed to transform because their current state was not fit for a relationship with their children at that time. And everything in the universe, everything in their reality was telling them this. It is hard. What harder thing can there be than to be
Mm.
willing to walk away in order to build yourself to come back again? Because that's what you're doing.
So yeah, it just requires courage, but that courage is all about your inner child and that inner child's dream. And if that is really important to you, if you want to leave a legacy, make an impact, live a meaningful life, then you
Yeah.
need that. You need to find it somewhere, and it's easier when you do it with someone like a mentor
Yeah.
coach. That would definitely help.
Yeah.
And not to be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid. This is all an illusion. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, it's all a game.
Thank you. Thank you. It really is. Yeah. And then you should ask yourself, do I really love my life right now? Am I fulfilled? Am I really fulfilled? And if the answer is no, and you would change a lot of things, then you have your answer. So it doesn't have to be as scary because you already are in a place that you
An
know.
adventure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at it as an adventure, and I've changed my life already several times in now that I yeah several times, and it's not as scary. It can sometimes feel like it, but then it's an adventure. Yeah. Anyway, so
But I know we want to go, but there's one thing I would add to that. One of the coolest things about the work that we do is these systems that we use that help show people's design, God-given design and maps. The reason these are so powerful in this conversation, I actually reconnected with my old spiritual mentor today. I was explaining this to him. The reason why this is so impactful is because with this understanding, you can actually know what's intended for your life at that moment, where, like, specifically the theme on which you're being driven towards, and that everything's kind of telling you it, but you don't have certainty, and you're trying to seek this thing in your heart that you're not 100% sure of what it is. It's there. It's available. And this takes this kind of grayness and all of this chaos. It helps eliminate a lot of that and bring a clear focus, and takes a lot of the fear away as well, because it's black and white. It's right there. And that's what I love about these, is it can really help people so they don't have to do what I did. They don't have to go through all of that. And they can still come to a beautiful place where they know who they are, they have a relationship with God, or they have a relationship with the higher self, or it actually doesn't matter as long as they're finding the truth about love. And they can get there without all the pain, unnecessary pain.
yeah.
Thanks to you for introducing that.
Oh, thanks to you for introducing me to your world as well, because I'm still
Yeah.
learning. I'm definitely benefiting from. Okay, well, I hope your spiritual mentor was proud of you. I definitely am. Thank you so much for this conversation. Although it's late, but I'm sure people enjoyed it and would benefit, even those who support it. Okay,
Yeah. Thank you.
let's manifest. Next 6 months is going to be fascinating, guys. Bye.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.